In Chapter 13, we've learned about how to record transactions dealing with payroll. But because we are dealing with a government entity, Section 13.3 deals with how do we fill out payroll tax reports. Oftentimes I find students are a little bit more reserved about filling out these tax reports because, well, they look like government forms. So let's break it down step by step. So an employer who withholds taxes from an employee earnings must furnish each employee with an annual report of these withholdings. The report shows total year's earnings and the amount withheld for taxes for an employee. These amounts are obtained from the employee's earnings record. The report is prepared on the IRS Form W-2 wage and tax statement. Employers must furnish Form W-2 to each employee by January 31st of the next year. If requested by the employee, the Form W-2 must be furnished within 30 days of the last day of employment. 4 copies, A to D, of Form W-2 are prepared. The employer sends copy A to the Social Security Administration and keeps copy D for the business's records. Copies B and C are given to the employee. The employee attaches copy B to the federal income tax return and keeps copy C for personal records. Businesses and states with the state income tax must prepare an additional copy to be attached to the employee's state tax return. Wisconsin does require you one, so in the state of Wisconsin we would have to have 5 copies. Some federal tax forms can be printed from copies available on the internet. Other tax forms, such as the W-2 and W-3, are designed to be machine readable and must be obtained directly from the Internal Revenue Service. Each employer is required by law to periodically report to the government the payroll taxes withheld from the employee's salary and to report the employer's payroll taxes due. Some reports are submitted quarterly and others are submitted annually. Each employer must file a Form 941 Employees Quarterly Federal Tax Return shown here. It shows the federal income tax, Social Security, and Medicare taxes owed to the government. The form must be filed before the last day of the month following the end of the calendar quarter. 3 Green's Form 941 for the quarter ended December 31st is shown here. The information needed to prepare Form 941 is obtained from an employee earnings record. How do we fill it out? Step 1 is going to be to enter the company's name, address, employer identification numbers, and the date and quarter ended in the heading section. Next step is to enter the number of employees. 3 Green has 6. Step 3 is our total quarterly earnings, $49,752.40 on line 2, 5A, and 5C. This amount is the sum of the 4th quarter's total earnings of all employees. Step 4 is to enter the income tax withheld, $3,043 on line 3. This amount is the total of the 4th quarter federal income tax withheld from all employees. Step number 5 is to calculate the quarterly employee and employer Social Security taxes, which is going to be $6,169.30, and Medicare will be $1,442.82. You will notice in column 2 on 5A and C respectively that the tax rate we have is 12.4% is the sum of employee 6.2 and the employer 6.2 Social Security tax rate. The 2.9 rate is the sum of the employee 1.45 and the employer 1.45 Medicare tax, because remember that the employee and the employer pays into Social Security and Medicare. So when we take a look at this number here, it is the employees plus the employer's portion, and that's how that is calculated. Step number 6 is going to be to enter this total Social Security and Medicare taxes added up, and on 5D. Step number 7 is going to be to enter the total payroll taxes, which is going to be $10,655.12 on line 6E. Since 3 Green has no adjustments to his taxes, the total is also entered on lines 8, 10, 11, and 13. The next step is to go to enter in our 2-letter state abbreviation. And for True Green, it's going to be PA for Pennsylvania. In Wisconsin, we would put WI. 3 Green deposits tax withholdings every month. You will check that box next to the statement you were a monthly scheduler depositor for the entire quarter. Step number 10 is to enter a monthly deposits provided in box line 17. You're going to get that information from your employee's earnings record. Step number 11 is to go through and enter the sum of the monthly totals. These are from lines 11 and 13 and the box under the monthly depositor. A Form W-3 is a transmittal of wage and tax statements. It is sent to the Social Security Administration by February 29th of each year. Form W-3 reports the prior year's earnings and the payroll taxes withheld for all employees. Attached to the Form W-3 is a copy A of each employee's Form W-2. Employers with 250 more employees must send the information to the IRS service in computer files rather than the actual W-2 and W-3s. At the end of the calendar year, employers must also report to the federal and state government a summary of all earnings paid to employees during those 12 months. So as you see in section 13.3, we have a lot of federal forms that we're going to be going through and doing. It can get very confusing. I look forward to seeing you online when we're going to be going through and working together to learn how to fill out these forms.